welcome to our esteemed guests from Mazgaon Dock Shipbuilders Limited, faculty of IIT Madras, my colleagues and guests who have joined us this morning. I am Vasudha Narasimhan, Senior Vice President for Corporate Relations at IIT Madras. And on behalf of the IIT Madras team, it is our privilege to welcome you to the inauguration of the Circulating Water Tunnel at the Discovery Campus of IIT Madras at Thaiyur. The hybrid wind and circulating water channel system represents an advanced experimental facility designed to support aerodynamic and hydrodynamic research within a single integrated platform. This state-of-the-art facility has been made possible through the generous CSR support of MDL, and today's inauguration marks a very important milestone in strengthening industry-academia collaboration for the maritime and shipbuilding sectors. We are honored to have with us today Captain Jagmohan, Indian Navy retired, Chairman and Managing Director, Mazgaon Dock Shipbuilders Limited, Mr. Vineet Wagh, Deputy General Manager Design, MDL. A warm welcome to the team IIT, including Professor V. Kamakoti, Director, Professor Ashwin Mahalingam, Dean, Alumni and Corporate Relations, Faculty of Ocean Engineering, Professor Vijay Kumar, and the other faculty, Mr. Kaviraj Nair, CEO OIA. A warm welcome to all of you, and we're glad to have you with us here. My colleague Eva will now take us through the rest of the proceedings today.
Thank you, Ms. Vasudha. The partnership with Mazgaon Dock Shipbuilders Limited opens up rich opportunities for collaboration in education, research, innovation, and CSR, particularly in the maritime and shipbuilding domains. I now request Professor Ashwin Mahalingam, Dean, Alumni and Corporate Relations, to share perspectives on the collaboration opportunities.
Thank you, Eva. Good afternoon, everyone. And again, I'd also like to welcome Captain Jagmohan and team here. And thank you very much, sir, for supporting IIT Madras and generously supporting the development of this circulating water tunnel. It's the first time I saw it also, and it's extraordinarily impressive. So congratulations also to our Department of Ocean Engineering for getting such a facility here. And hopefully, this will spur quite a bit of research and development going forward. I think from our perspective, there are 2 or 3 things required for us to become world leaders in R&D. One is, of course, we need really good quality researchers, whether they are students or postdocs or researchers that we bring in. And at least in a country like India, there is no shortage of that. The students that we get, whether at the undergraduate, masters, or people who come in as project associates or postdocs, are phenomenal. They have great capability. You also need good leadership to be able to orient all of their skills and do something productive. And again, I think we have a fantastic group of faculty in our ocean engineering department, and we are fortunate enough to have faculty who have been career academics, blending with people who have spent significant time in industry. And we have professors of practice and things like that. So we have a very good blend. So that part of the problem is solved. I think the challenge is, in a country like India, and this is across departments, we often don't have the kinds of resources and facilities to really put all of this talent to good use. And so in the past, we've had to suffice with smaller facilities, do more simulation rather than experimentation and things like this. And I think these are exactly the kinds of investments in academia and research that would be great for corporate India to make, to really take our research to the next level. And by that, not only will we be able to support existing efforts within India, but also perhaps be a technology provider to people outside of India, like we once were technology recipients. So, I really wanted to sort of underline that point. Primarily in the past, industry, whether it's the public sector, whether it is the private sector, have essentially funded what we call the incremental costs of research. So the faculty is employed by IIT Madras, the laboratory facilities are available, and you fund a little bit of incremental research. But here, this is a complete paradigm shift, where it's not the incremental cost of research that's being funded. We are actually creating new research facilities that allow us to do things that we could never have done before. So we really welcome this partnership with MDL. We know it will be a fruitful collaboration. Already we've been talking, we know each other well. But hopefully we see this as the start of perhaps a much longer journey and partnership, where we will not only utilize and leverage these facilities, but over a period of time perhaps even enhance these facilities so that we are best in class not only in India but globally as well. So with that, thank you very much, sir, for coming forward and supporting us, and we really look forward to a long-lasting relationship with MDL. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor. The vision and guidance of our director play a central role in shaping strategic partnerships such as this one. I now request Professor V. Kamakoti, Director IIT Madras, to address the gathering.
Welcome to Captain Jagan Mohan and the entire team from Mazagon Dock Shipbuilders Limited. So again, at the outset, as a director, I am very thankful to all of you for selecting IIT Madras to give this very gracious CSR contribution. Needless to say that all that we try and do, we always attempt to be number one and also exploratory. So I heard from Vijay that this is the first ever hybrid water-air tunnel, which I think no one has even attempted. And I'm sure this is going to give you a lot of insights on how we build ships, how we build vessels, how we build either small boats or large boats, which we can test it in the presence of air and water. And we can essentially make what we today call as a twin, that is a boiled down model, and when we actually put it in the ocean, probably it's going to be as close to what we expect in terms of behavior. I think this is, in a nutshell, this is what I understood. I'm a computer scientist, but so I follow modeling to some level, and I hope this will give us a very close approximation of what will happen in the ocean. Friends, maritime is, of course, very important for us. Needless to tell, I need not tell this fish how to swim. But India is the only country where an ocean is named after us. So we are the Indian Ocean. We have a large mala, Sagar Mala. I think, so always when our BTECs come, yesterday JE Advanced got over, always I insist that they should take naval architecture rather than computer science, my discipline. Because naval architecture has much more prosperity and much more challenges than computer science or machine learning. So I'm sure a lot of people actually came. Many of the BTech students said that they are very thankful to JE Advanced that they got this rank that got them into naval architecture, and after 2 years they actually realized the importance of this discipline. And they are quite happy to continue and do a lot more work. I think shipbuilding is going to become important even from a strategic point of view. And we are also looking at submarines. I don't know whether you can touch submarines here. You can push it inside and pull out of water. Huh? Okay, so you can also do that, right? So hopefully this will be a turning point, and we would like to keep enhancing this. So today he's talking about some 72 RPM, so 6 knots or what, 4 knots or 6 knots, but typical vessels go at 13 knots, and the high speed hitters can go at 30 knots or some. So he gave some figures. I think we must start looking at facilities which can help us accurately model those, so that we spend a lot more time in the lab and very less time in the field and get accurate results. Manufacturing is very, very important. Even in the Iran war, one of the big statements that actually stunned the world, they said in May, they said, I will send new missiles. This is what Iran told to US. I will send new missiles with the manufacturing date as recent as April. Right? I'll have the manufacturing date serial number in April 2026, and I'll give you deliver it in May. Right? If they could make drones, they could make such missiles. They are essentially a very small country. Nobody expected this much, but they had a temerity to make the so-called claiming that superpower to come on a negotiation table. I think that's a very important lesson. So that's the power of manufacturing, and we must have quick ways by which we can produce things that are suitable for our country, suitable for our oceans. Friends, we are not going to invade any country. We are not greedy at all. That's the greatness of Bharat. Okay, so, but to protect our shores, protect our strategic sectors, protect our underground cables, right? The sea cables that we have put are very, very important. If that is cut, our whole entire business goes for a toss. So all these things require, that surveillance, etc., requires quite a bit of work. And another thing to the MD here, that we must start working at making ships that can, submarines in some sense, which can go and repair our underwater cables. I think we are extremely dependent upon foreign nations for that. and they can deny, and if a cable is cut, if two cables are cut across the border, I think we lose our entire business, because many businesses running because of our internet connection, and we are dependent upon that. So high-speed business, right? So that's also something which Vijay should start looking at. I would like to see designs that are coming out of this particular tunnel, which are going to touch some of the very important strategic security problems of our country. So let me put this as a target. So in 2 years, if you can give us a design which the ship can go whatever depth, I don't know how depth it is going to be, and you can basically go and repair a cable and sustain there for say some 3 hours or 4 hours. There are some specifications for it. If we can make a design and we go do a toy design and at least by simulation so it will work, I think in 2 years can be a good output from this. I hope Masagan will be interested in taking that forward, right? So today we are really struggling because of it, and we are getting ships from other parts of the world where there are, in the context of bringing an imported ship, meaning a ship from other company, I need not tell again, there are so much intrusion that could happen, so much understanding of our ocean that could happen for our quote-unquote friends, specifically on the north side. So this is very, very important, and I hope we will come to such type of problems. Not some, of course you should publish papers and other things, but I want to see one problem of this nature, and this is a problem I pose to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I request Professor Abdul Samad, Head of the Department Ocean Engineering, to now address the gathering.
Happy good morning. Yeah, so this very nice event, and it is linking industry, academia, and our Thaiyur campus. So Discovery campus, the name says Discovery. So lots of discovery will be there linked with this our tunnel. And if you see about Ocean Engineering Department, we have 26 faculty members, and all we are working different domains. But if you see all the ports and coastal works, coastal erosion, your breakwater, deep water mission, deep underwater mining you want to do, or you want to find your lithium battery metal. So you can explore, and our department is involved in the exploration. Our department is involved in like ship design and energy and several areas. So if you search coastal area, any work, our department will be involved. So all ports are having certain percentage of our department there. Maybe some consultancy work, maybe some assistance work, or maybe our graduates working there. So somehow we are linked with our all 10,000 kilometer coastal area. Okay, it was 75,000, now it is 10,000. INCO is recalculated because they reduced the scale and they recalculated to 10,000 kilometer. So we have presence from our IIT Madras and our department to work for coastal erosion, tsunami mitigation, ship design, port design, harbor design. So all, everywhere we will find. So this is also one part of this one actually. So whenever industry will be having issues, so they'll come, they will get their solution, and this is our work. So this industry collaboration with our director collaboration, with our Dean SCR and our Mazgaon Dock collaboration, it will work. I hope things will move on, and I ask SCR also to assist us to find more fund. We'll make much bigger system, much bigger thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor. To give us an overview of the facility, its capabilities and planned applications, may I now invite Professor R. Vijay Kumar, Department of Ocean Engineering, IIT Madras, to present the project overview.
Very good morning. I would like to thank CMD and the MDL team for giving the fund and starting this circulating water channel facility. I'll just try to give you the overview of the facility. Actually, this is our 10th hydrodynamic testing facility in Ocean Engineering Department. We have 7 testing facility in our main campus. 8th and the 9th one which you have seen, and the 10th facility which we are having it. So when we started, this was started when Cochin Shipyard has approached us they wanted to go in for wind-assisted propulsion system. So wind-assisted propulsion system they wanted to have on a commercial basis, and they wanted to make that. So instead of approaching ocean engineering department, they straight away went to the aerospace, because it was wind-assisted propulsion. And the aerospace has directed them back to ocean engineering, and then thought wind-assisted propulsion is the one which we have to go for it. That has triggered us our mind. We don't have a facility in which both water moving as well as the wind having able to capture this. That idea made us to go in for having a facility where we can go for wind-assisted propulsion. Traditionally, wind-assisted propulsion is sails capturing the wind and then moving ahead. That is fair wind and the following seas, which favors the ships to move. That means trade can happen only when there is a fair wind. But I wanted to go in an unfair wind. Then the design is different. I have to go a rigid foil, and I have to have a rotating drum, or I need to have a sail which will be able to go, always able to produce a thrust to go forward. So that was the case, and now in the world only one ship is existing, one or two ships are existing. Now we wanted to increase our research domain into that field. That has given an idea. We thought of it exactly 18 months back, 18 to 19 months back. Today we have the system, thanks to all for the support in financial. We designed, CFD studies were carried out, we designed it, we designed the propeller, everything is indigenous part of it. Now we have the testing facility, and we have a student already enrolled with us for doing the wind-assisted propulsion system to take forward. This was the one part of the funding which was used. Now coming to the second part of the funding, we are doing the open water test. For a naval architect, open water test is a must, as well as for the self-propulsion test. So where the propeller is runs, and we design the propeller, run the propeller, get both the thrust and the torque characteristics, and then test it on the ship. When we were doing testing on the ship, we realized that we lack in the instrumentation part of it. So one part of the fund was used in generating the self-propulsion part, where we have used Sea Convoy systems, one of the startups or one of the firm, and then able to design the thrust and torque measuring instrument in our own in India, and then able to deploy it. What we did was we measured our system and then put it on the one side, and what we have bought it from UK cousins, put it on the other side. We ran the model. We measured the thrust and torque, which is being measured in the right-hand side propeller and left-hand side propeller, able to compare how our instrument is working. So this we wanted to show it. When you visit us in next time into the main campus, we will do it. And cost is around 1/5 of the cost, less than that. And today we have it ourselves. This is the second utility of the fund which has been given. This was a test which was being done, our towing tank in the main campus, the system. The third part was we want to measure the wake at the propeller plane. So we wanted to measure the wake at the propeller plane for designing the propeller. So we went ahead in designing a mechanical system, a 5-hole probe, to measure this wake. And this also we have gone meticulously designing here, manufacturing here, and measured it on the vessel in which we wanted to do it. And 10 in number of this instrument has also been made. This is the jig which is to calibrate, and this will be mounted on the vessel, and then we will be able to measure the wake at the propeller plane. A nominal wake at the propeller plane can be measured. I think this video is. So this is only the calibration. We are running it in the towing tank and then able to measure it. Previously, we used to buy this from Wellingford cousins, and we used to buy it from there. Today, we have it ourselves, and we can also make it and give it to anybody else who want to measure the wake at the propeller plane. And the fourth one is again underwater acoustic sensor. We have a lot of hydrophones and other things. When we wanted to measure it in the noise levels of the propellers and other things, we had a problem because of the reverberation from the walls. So we went ahead with getting a hydrophone, which is, we were nowhere involved, but the fund was utilized in getting this, where is a vector velocity actuator vector sensor that will be used for measuring this. This is the funding which has been used for getting the instruments and other things where our capability could be used for doing further research work. Now, in this August gathering, I would like to put forward what is our mission is to go for all the hydrodynamic testing instead of going abroad. We would like to be a pioneer in doing the hydrodynamic testing, both numerical as well as the experimental, where we want to use indigenous high precision experimental equipments and then have it. So we have 10 facilities, different in caliber, different in measuring instruments. We are planning to have a very long flume in the near future for coastal purposes. We would like to have a carriage on top of it and then to do all the naval architecture part of it. So with that idea, we have thought of thinking of having a center named Hydra, where almost all the hydrodynamic characteristics of underwater bodies, surface bodies, and the propellers can be done, along with enhancing our numerical capabilities in doing the indigenous design. And why not indigenous? Even abroad, we will be able to take up this ship design capabilities. This is an idea. Some of other use, while coming on the car, CMD was asking, how is your model fabrication facility? This is the model which has been made for MDL with the Sea Convoy as a firm, where they have made it along with the original one that is for doing the model testing in the towing tank, and the last one is for model testing for seakeeping basin at NSTL. Two different models, two different scale, 5-meter model and 7-meter model, along with the propeller, with all the working propeller and which can carry out self-propulsion test. Some of the glimpses of the test which have been carried out for MDL in our towing tank. So the plane flow test is mainly for aligning all the underwater appendages, bilge scale, stabilizers and other things. We have done it. And both 22 knots and 2 knots, both ahead and astern. Even astern testing was also done for MDL cadet training ships, which they have been doing. This is the test which we have carried out in our lake, where we are carrying out at the turning circle and the zigzag maneuver and the roll decay test. Exactly, you can see that 2020 zigzag maneuver it is performing, where the rudder characteristics can be measured. So we would like to upgrade our model making facility, towing tank facility, and all high-speed testing and other facilities. We look forward from MDL to generously fund us for the next project which we have proposed, and it will take us to the next level. Apart from this INS Kaundinya very recently made a trip from Mumbai to Oman and back. We were involved in the testing of its seakeeping capabilities. You can actually see we have tested it in our towing tank. More than 160 tests which we have conducted. When it has recently getting affected with sea state number 5, when it traveling from Karwar to Porbandar, there was a panic. Then they came online, we tested it and showed them how the behavior, the same kind of motions and other behavior was being experienced. And we also gave certain inputs. Instead of having the mast down because of the motions are very high on the vessels, raise the mast up. So the motions are coming down by 20 to 30% on the vessels, which was followed by the crew. One of the crew also has done a PhD from here, Commander Hemant. So he was interacting with us, and we could really give a lot of feedback in executing this. So with this, I would like to conclude. Thank you so much for the funding. We look forward for many more cooperations and other things. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Captain Jagmohan was appointed as Chairman and Managing Director on the board of the company in April 2025. He is a naval architect from Cochin University of Science and Technology. He has also done post-graduation and M.Tech in Naval Construction and Ocean Engineering from IIT Delhi and IIT Kharagpur respectively. He served over 25 years with the Indian Navy, during which he held several important assignments in the Directorate of Naval Design and at Naval Dockyard, Mumbai. I now invite Captain Jagmohan, Chairman and Managing Director, MDL, to now deliver the keynote address.
Professor Kamakoti, Director, IIT Madras, Professor Ashwin Mahalingam, Dean, Corporate Affairs and Alumni, Head of Department, Ocean Engineering, Professor Vijay Kumar and his team, distinguished faculty members, my colleague from Mazagon Dock, ladies and gentlemen. It's a privilege to be here. Wonderful campus, great facility, and I've always enjoyed, being with the academia. It feels like home for me. I have always enjoyed. I have spent almost 10 years of my time in the Navy in academic institutions, several in the country and abroad as well. I was just discussing with the director IIT that I spent a year in Aachen University. I think Aachen University has a lot of relations with IIT Madras. At the outset, before I have a prepared text, but before that I would like to address a couple of points which both the Dean and the Director brought out. One is, you rightly said that, you have a fantastic researchers, quality of researchers is excellent. The leadership shown by the faculty is outstanding. What you need is, I think, funds to have the infrastructure to do cutting edge research and development. And I would like to give an assurance to the Dean, Corporate Relations, and to the Director that MDL, this is just a beginning of our relation with IIT Madras, and we will continue and we will do better than what we have done here. So, and also an interesting thing what Professor Kamakoti brought out regarding the cable laying vessels. You see, we have recently acquired a shipyard. The largest shipyard in Sri Lanka, Colombo Dry Dock dockyard, has been acquired by MDL last year. We are now on the board. I am the chairman of the company. We are building 2 cable laying vessels. Of course, it doesn't do the repairs, but we do the cable laying vessels for the French company Orange, the major telecommunication company, laying all these cables for internet. It's a good idea. I have not thought of how we will repair parts of the cable, but it's something which we can do. We do similar things for the offshore industry, where we do part replacement of pipelines for ONGC, and over the last 2 years, we in fact executed projects worth 7,500 crores for ONGC in the last 2 years, and a couple of them have been on the pipeline or the pipe replacement. So we can use similar kind of infrastructure, and maybe for the cable we may have to work with IIT Madras and come out with some innovative solutions. That is definitely something which we are most willing to work with. In addition, we feel there is a lot of prospects, particularly, like I think you have brought out or somebody else brought out that, at the end of the day, we are finally a commercial organization. So we would like to see some return on investment. So while definitely an R&D needs to have, have an open mind for, not every project is going to be successful, and sometimes it takes a much longer time. What we would like to work is on specific projects. For example, the Navy is coming out with a very large, almost a 40,000 or 50,000 crore project called the Landing Platform Dock. That's a very typical design, and the Navy has never been confident that any of the shipyards can actually do this design. So fortunately, in the last few years, because of Atmanirbharta and all that, we are not in a position to go abroad. Now, if I say I have a solution along with the IIT Madras, they are likely to accept it. So as we were coming in the car today, I was telling Professor Vijay Kumar that we must work together on this. In fact, I've called my general manager design and told him that we should start immediately to work, not just on the hull form or the model testing, but in fact looking at the design. Because although I believe your naval architects in your department are a little less compared to the large strength overall, I'm sure this is something which we can work on. And you have experience in LPD, but this is something which we can start off. So now coming to my prepared text. So at one level, this is an inauguration of an experimental research facility, but at another level, it represents something much more important. It represents the beginning of a deeper partnership between the academia and the industry in a sector where technological capabilities will increasingly determine our national competitiveness and competence. It is something, you see, we are a maritime nation, and geographically we are very strategically located. We have a vast coastline, we have heavy dependence on energy through sea trade, but we still don't have a strong maritime industry or a shipbuilding industry except for the defense or the naval shipbuilding. And that is because for the last 50, 60 years, Navy has nurtured these shipyards. So it's about time we start working on the commercial shipbuilding and the offshore segment, where a lot of work can happen, and if we have to match, if you see the Indian government's Maritime Amrit Kal Vision 2047, we want to be the 5th largest shipbuilder in the world by 2047. For that, unless we have core strengths, R&D capability, we will not be able to do that. We will continuously depend on countries like Korea or Japan. And that's where institutions like IIT Madras comes, and coordination and a good working relation between the industry and the institutions will really help take the country to where the government's vision is. There's another thing which comes to my mind. You see, first thing is the government has now put a lot of emphasis on R&D. So it has told all public sector companies that 7% of your profit before tax should be invested in R&D. So for example, for MDL, that comes to a little more than 200 crores a year. I need to invest, and I need to find avenues to invest in R&D. So we are looking at partners like you, but we are also looking at, and I will also have to see, because there are all accounting practices in this, whether this qualifies. I would like to do this on a R&D rather than a CSR. So that is something which we will have to work. We would like to directly fund an R&D. Again, we will have to see whether infrastructure can be funded through R&D. And now when you come to that, when we have to also be a little careful, because when we see it from the level of the government, we are seeing similar infrastructure being created at multiple locations. We have one at NSTL, we have at Kharagpur, we have already existing facilities at IIT Chennai. The Navy has, because the lab at NSTL has been set up for the Indian Navy's purpose. All the projects, new projects will be done at IIT at NSTL. So in such a condition, does the commercial market have such large scope for setting up a long or a large wind tunnel or a basin is something which we need to actually see. What we should actually look at is the ecosystem. See the ecosystem and plug in the gaps that are there. And primarily look at, like what the director brought out, that it should be a little more than, just a few research papers or infrastructure. We must bring out products at the end of the day, and which we should hopefully be able to commercialize, and we should be able to, the long run, if we tie up together, MDL should be later on able to market to the rest of the world. We should be your production agency, like how DRDO works. So some kind of models is something which we should work, and we have to look at constantly on innovation. While innovation, to do innovation also, you may need infrastructure, definitely. So those are aspects that we'll have to see. So as I was explaining, any large R&D investment must make business sense. It must align with future market requirements, future technologies, and future national priorities. So we should continuously ask ourselves, what kind of navy is India looking at in 2047? What kind of commercial fleet will dominate global shipping in 2035? Which marine technologies will become strategically critical? Where should India build sovereign capability? And where will future industry demand actually emerge? These are questions that are answered, and then an investment in R&D has to be made. While I'm confirming that we are long-term partners and we will do better than what we have done already. But the areas where we have to focus can be discussed and decide where we do it. And especially because this is important in a country like India where resources have to be clearly prioritized. So the objective should not be at creating infrastructure, it should be more to create capability that is relevant, utilized, sustainable, and nationally valuable. So that's where actually the industry-academia collaboration becomes important. Industry brings the market visibility, the operation realism, whereas the academia brings in innovation, long-term technological thinking, and together we can identify the right areas where India should invest aggressively for future leadership in the maritime field. And Mazagon Dock is fully committed to being part of that journey. And we are very clear that, such critical capability cannot be imported. We have to do it here. And I'm actually glad when we saw the facility, a lot of it, in fact, majority of it, including some of the sensors and the instrumentation has been all done in India. So that's great. Otherwise, the general solution would be to just pick up from abroad. So, and the kind of infrastructure that is created with the kind of funds, anybody else setting it up would have taken maybe 3 times the amount. So it shows there's a lot of work behind by Professor Vijay Kumar and his team, and it's really heartening to see that. So before I conclude, I would like to place on record my appreciation to IIT Madras and particularly to the Department of Ocean Engineering and Professor Vijay Kumar and his entire team for the commitment and efforts in developing this facility. I also compliment Professor Kamakoti and the leadership of IIT Madras for their strong focus on industry engagement and applied research. From MDL side, I would assure that we look forward to continued engagement with IIT Madras in areas of hydrodynamics, propulsion, underwater systems, and maritime innovation. So if India has to emerge as a major maritime power by 2047, like what the government is envisaging, then partnerships like this is essential. Thank you, and Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring address and for reaffirming MDL's commitment to supporting research, innovation, and capability building in the maritime sector. I now invite Professor V. Kamakoti to felicitate Captain Jagmohan, Chairman and Managing Director, MDL, with a memento. I request Professor V. Kamakoti to felicitate Mr. Vineet Wagh, Deputy General Manager, Design, MDL, with a memento. Thank you, sir. To formally bring this inauguration to a close, may I invite Mr. Kaviraj Nair, CEO, Office of Institutional Advancement, IIT Madras, to deliver the closing remarks.
Thank you, everyone. Kindly allow me to express our sincere gratitude to the Chairman and Managing Director of MDL, Captain Jagmohan, to Mr. Vineet Wagh, Deputy General Manager, Design, Professor Kamakoti, Director of IIT Madras, Professor Ashwin Mahalingam, who is the Dean, Alumni and Corporate Relations, Professor Abdul Samad, who is the HOD of the Ocean Engineering Department, Professor R. Vijay Kumar from Ocean Engineering Department, Professor of Practice, Rear Admiral K.P. Arvindan, Ocean Engineering Department, and my colleagues Vasudha, Ankur, Eva, Varshni, Aishwarya, all of my colleagues who made this event a very successful one. Thank you so much.